we bring to you former MLB All-Star and Texas Rangers Hall of Famer Ian Kinsler. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, I'm doing okay otherwise, but this losing streak's really got me down. And what I really wanted to know to start with, we asked Bochy about this on Tuesday. How difficult was it for you in your life to separate the game from, like, your general mood? Like, did people know to stay away from you if there was a losing streak going on?
Yeah, it's like it's a maturation process. when you have kids and you got young ones, it kind of, everything kind of shifts and your priorities shift a little bit when you get home. But I guess you're just able to hide it a little bit better. But when I was younger and no kids, my wife had, wore it a little bit, and I was never really a happy camper. You kind of just stare at the ceiling all night and try to get some sleep, but usually it's pretty difficult.
I was looking, Ian, at the 2009 season, and I was kind of seeing there were a bunch of different guys that had closing opportunities for you guys. And then the next season, it's Neftali Feliz, and he has, 41 saves. And it's like, what's the difference between knowing that guy is going to the mound to close this game out and maybe kind of being a little weary whenever you're on the offensive side?
I think Neftali was a different kind of animal. He's a different kind of beast. He was somebody that was top in the game as a closer at that point. So if you have one of those guys, just a bona fide shutdown closer, it definitely makes a difference in the game. And your offensive mentality is trying to have that lead going in the ninth, obviously. But, if you're referring to the Rangers right now, they have two of those guys. Will Smith has been fantastic this season. I know it's been a rough stretch lately, and Chapman and Spores have both been outstanding through the whole year. And this is what happens. This is what happens in the baseball season, and that's why you play 162. It's the ultimate separator. And these guys right now are going through it a little bit, and in my opinion, it's actually good timing for it because they have time to come out of this thing and find out their championship DNA. Are they built to win a championship? And if they can come out of this, they're going to be better for it and more prepared going into the postseason, in my opinion.
I wanted to go back to Will Smith for just a second. And I know he has a proven track record, but this season, in the last 2.5 months, his ERA is above 6 so that's a long stretch of time. What is it that leads you to believe, not just with Will Smith, but when you were playing with guys in general, that they can break out of this funk?
A lot of it is just character, right? What the guy's made of, what you know of him as a person. And obviously the track record helps for confidence for any individual. And really it just comes down to preparation. When a guy is the same in the clubhouse every day, they prepare the same way every day, they have a track record to prove that they're able to perform in that role. And then obviously this year he's been really good. So, personality-wise, there's a lot of confidence in somebody like that, and at times you just got to take your lumps, and that's the way baseball goes. Sometimes you got offensive guys that go through slumps and tough periods, and you might not notice it as much as a bullpen guy because it's similar to a field goal kicker where they miss 3 field goals in a row, and they should be released. But a running back has one bad game and rushes 10 times for 35 yards, and no one's really blinking an eye if the quarterback's having a good game. So offensively you go through some slumps, but you have a whole team to kind of pick you up, and that's a tough role to be in as a bullpen guy. And you're expected to be perfect, and you're expected to close out every situation, and that's just not going to be the case. And with a guy like Will, I know he wants to perform well, and he loves the role that he's in, and hopefully he comes out better for it.
Former Texas Rangers superstar Ian Kinsler joining us right now. Ian, I was looking at 2010, 2011, and 2012, the closing season of that, kind of your Septembers. And in 2010, 2011, it looks like you guys kind of cruised to the division title. In 2012, obviously you guys struggled the final 2 weeks, and Oakland won the division by 1 game. Can you give us a difference on right now? The Rangers are obviously in a battle with Houston and Seattle to try to win this division. There's not going to be any cruising in September. The difference of September baseball when a series or a game can change where you're at in the standings?
Yeah, absolutely. I think now the coined phrase is Septober. You know, I mean, this is basically October baseball now, and it's similar to playoff baseball, especially the situation that the Rangers in. I mean, the Braves are really the only team right now who can probably sail through September, but I know they're going to probably keep their foot on the gas pedal. And those 3 seasons in Texas, I know 2011 we went on a really late run in September, and I think we won maybe 16 out of 18 or something crazy. Going into the postseason, and you know the postseason didn't turn out the way we all wanted it to, but we kind of dominated the postseason up until those last 2 games. So you want to be hot going in, and you know the Astros are thinking the same thing. They got a bunch of experienced guys that have been in the postseason, you know, for the last however many years, and have won a couple World Series, so they understand it. And Seattle was a team that was in the postseason last year, so being hot and playing your best baseball going in is obviously the most important, and confidence is high going into that postseason. So, you know, the guys on this Rangers club, I think are, you know, they know that they have a leader in Bruce Bochy who's been through it multiple times, and Mike Maddox has been through it, and they're in good hands right now.
Tell me the difference between 2009 and 2010, not only for you specifically, but for the team. That's the first time in kind of your career and a lot of the Rangers that you're in a pennant race in 2009. And I looked it up. You guys went 7-13 your last 20 games. In 2010, you guys go 11-9 in your final 20 games. So there's not a huge difference there, but there's a little bit. Tell me what it was like going through a pennant chase the second time around versus the first time.
Yeah, I think the first time the expectations weren't there, you know, in 2009. And I think being in the pennant race that late in the season kind of gave us a new identity going into the offseason for 2010. And when we were able to acquire Vladimir Guerrero from the Angels, the team that just beat us in that division and who had dominated the division up to that point, it was a huge boost for us. We felt like, okay, we got rid of, you know, evil Vlad, and he's now on our team. And we felt young. We felt, you know, a ton of energy on that club, and kind of took off from there. In 2009, you know, sometimes you're just not talented enough. And we were right in the mix all the way to the end. And that's like I said before, it's just the separator. It's, you know, you figure out who you are in September when you're in a pennant race and what type of club you are. And some teams just aren't good enough. And, you know, in 2009, that was us. We just didn't have enough to get over the hump and dethrone the Angels. And, you know, in 2010, it was, you know, apparent pretty early that, you know, we were going to start to take over the division.
The last night, you know, Mike pointed this out earlier in the show, and we kind of looked at it. Bochy he exited pretty quickly, and I can understand a little bit of, oh man, I got to go figure some things out. I wonder what it was like for you guys whenever you had a moment where maybe you felt like you let Wash down and you weren't like up to his standards. How important was it like to play for Wash, because that's your manager, that's your guy? What was that like? What was that experience like? And did y'all kind of discuss those things?
You know, it wasn't discussed really. It was just more of a feeling. And a good manager has their way of motivating his players, and sometimes without words. And, you know, and also you got to take into consideration that Boch has been asked questions about this for the last 7 days.
Yeah.
You know, and at some point people just get sick of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether that's the case or not, I have no idea, but, there's a lot of different ways a manager can handle situations like this. And he's as seasoned as anybody. So, I would never doubt his moves. And, you know, with Wash, it was very similar. He expected us to show up ready to play the next day. And his favorite saying after tough loss or maybe a losing streak, is he would come in and just tell us, get in the shower and just wash it down the drain. Once you get out of the shower and you get back into your street clothes, it's all washed down the drain and we start over tomorrow. So everybody's got a different way of looking at it, and Boch has done it a while, and he's got it under control for sure.
Talk with Ian Kinsler right here on 105.3 The Fan. Nate Lowe admitted he struggled with it. The entire team has had issues at times. I got to know, what is the appeal of the high fastball when you see that coming in?
That's a good.
It's just closer to the eyes.
So mean.
It's closer to the eyes, so it just looks bigger to you. When your eyes light up as a hitter, sometimes you're facing a guy with high velocity, and you just have to trust your eyes. And when your eyes tell you to attack something, you go at it, and sometimes it's just too high. Those high pitches look good, and they're tough to be disciplined on. We saw Mike Trout kind of struggle with it for 2 years before he was able to make the adjustment, and obviously he's one of the best in the game and struggled with the high fastball. So it's a good pitch, and when used correctly, if you're not going to go to the well too many times in a row, I think big league hitters will adjust to it. But if you use it correctly and with 2 strikes and set hitters up, it's a very difficult pitch to lay off.
Ian, I was describing this a few weeks ago, and it's tough to totally describe, but I was talking about how, as a pitcher, I'm trying to fool a hitter, and I don't want the hitter to know what I'm throwing as I'm releasing the ball. So I'm kind of trying to put this into a non-baseball person's brain on how a hitter's trying to recognize a pitch and how, as a pitcher, I'm trying to not let you recognize a pitch. And I said, you're kind of seeing the ball in 3 frames, and I don't want you as a hitter seeing what I'm throwing until about the 3rd frame, where you've committed to your swing or didn't commit to a swing, and then you're in an oh crap situation. You have not seen the ball the way that you want to see. And if you can see the ball, how quickly do you want to see what the pitch is, as in the spin? When you're recognizing that spin, at what point you're like, okay, I got this and I'm going to put a good swing on this? Because from a pitcher standpoint, I don't want you seeing the spin of the ball or where it's going to be located until it's about 2/3 of the way there. If I've done that, I've probably done a good job of fooling the hitter.
Yes, you have. You've done a really good job of fooling the hitter. For me, some pitchers show you something in their delivery, something in their mechanics that subconsciously your eyes just pick up, and it's going to be an off-speed pitch just based on the delivery. Their arm slows down, or they don't, turn as much, or whatever. It could be a bunch of different things that you just pick up before the guy even releases the ball. Sometimes you have a feel of what's coming, but mostly it's tunneling, right? Like everybody talks about this word tunneling. And for me, it's imagery. So when I see, a curveball for a strike early in the at bat, and it starts at my left shoulder, in my eyes, it looked like it started at my left shoulder and dropped in for a strike. I now have an image of that curveball, and that's what I'm looking for the rest of the at bat. If it starts lower than that, if it starts, at my chest or a little bit lower at my stomach, and it's the same, then it comes down to pitch recognition. If I can recognize that, I'm able to lay off of it. So for me as a hitter, the more pitches I saw, the better my imagination became, and I was able to kind of prepare for all pitches and stay balanced and prepared. But some guys just have a knack of disguising their pitches and their spins, like you were saying, where a slider can look like a fastball, or a changeup for sure can look like a fastball. In the addition and subtraction of velocity, keeping hitters off balance is really what it comes down to. And then obviously, hiding the ball and all the things that go into pitching and trying to fool the hitter or stop them from recognizing your pitch early, like you were saying, is the key to pitching. And then doing the opposite is the key to hitting. So, cat and mouse game of baseball is really pitcher and hitter, and those types of situations, trying to figure out a tell, some sort of mechanical flaw or something that happens that you can pick up as early as possible to help you, identify pitches.
Let's say a pitcher is a 4-pitch pitcher. That seems to be very common nowadays as a starter. How quickly will you eliminate a pitch because you've seen it as this guy cannot locate this pitch for a strike today?
Is pregame understanding the percentages that he throws the pitch, and then understanding the percentage of strikes he throws with that pitch. So if he's a 4-pitch guy and he throws his fastball 40% of the time and his slider 20% or 25%, and he's got 2 other pitches, a curveball and a changeup that he throws, 25, I don't know what my math is here, but let's say 26% between the 2 of them. But his curveball and his changeup, he's throwing for, 10% strikes or, a low percent strike rate. You can eliminate those at the beginning of the game. And then as the game goes on, you're paying attention. You're supposed to be anyway. And you're watching what this guy's controlling for the day and what he's able to throw for strikes. And, if a pitcher's having a bad day, sometimes you can eliminate it all the way down to just his fastball. And, if he's having just a decent day, usually you can eliminate it down to 2 pitches. And when you get a guy to 2 pitches, it becomes a lot easier.
Now, I keep seeing Derek Holland's name pop up on my phone, but I haven't had a chance to read.
Is he texting you? Hey, ask him this.
I haven't had a chance to read his text. So, Ian, I'm going to assume that he's texting and saying that he's a better interview than you are. What would you like to say to respond to that fake thing I just made up?
Well, I've never heard one of his interviews ever.
Okay.
So, it's tough to compare because, who listens to Derek Holland's interviews? I don't know. So.
Burn!
You gotta be tight with somebody to burn them like that, though.
That's true.
No, he was probably saying something really nice, and now I'm bashing on him.
Here's what he said. He said he's one of the best and helped me do damn much. I'm so grateful for him.
See, you set me up.
I'm in the media. That's what we do. Have you never heard that before?
No.
Come on, Ian. You got to know that.
No, but speaking of disguising pitches, right? Derek Holland that's what made him so effective. Was he was able to throw his, as a left-hander, he was able to throw his fastball inside the right-handers and kind of tie him up in, and then his slider was basically off that same tunnel, and it would kind of snap to your back foot. And so trying to distinguish those 2 pitches is what made Derek so good and allowed him to pitch for so long. But I had a number of conversations with him about that, trying to, have him refine those skills, and he got really good at it. And, everybody listens to Derek Holland interviews.
I'm
going to get another text from him, I'm sure, with less friendly language.
Ian Kinsler with us right now on the K&C Masterpiece. And, we were kind of spoiled having, Michael Young, you, Josh Hamilton, all in that bunch, Nelson Cruz. Y'all had a great roster. Y'all had a great lineup. And it always felt good knowing, I'll say Josh Hamilton's coming to the plate. I feel like as a teammate, it probably felt pretty good knowing that dude was about to come up to the plate and maybe wreck some game or something. And I'm kind of comparing that to Seger and Semien right now, and just watching Seger, the way he's like just ruthlessly attacking the ball whenever he gets up to the plate. As a teammate, how does it feel whenever you know you got that guy in the lineup somewhere?
It's an amazing feeling. You just expect something good to happen every time they step in, in the batter's box. It can also be very dangerous because you're kind of leaning on somebody to create some runs somehow. And you might take a little edge off of your self preparation or, holding yourself accountable for driving in runs or creating runs. So having a player like that, sometimes guys might expect too much from a player like that, but
yeah,
when that happens, that's telling you that that's a great player, right? When you're expecting something to happen every time they're in the box, you almost scratch your head when they fail, and that's the sign of one of the best players in the league. Really, is when you have that feeling every time someone steps in the box.
Ian, I don't know this is a fact or not, but I'm going to assume Corey Seager hasn't broken his bat all year. He has like 2 inches worth of pine tar on the bat. He has the donut that he uses has now taken some of the black paint off the barrel of his bat. So I'm just assuming like this dude might have gone this whole year without breaking a bat because that bat looks really old. Can you recall the longest stretch you went without breaking a bat and using like your favorite bat, and it just stayed with you for how long?
I have no idea, but you know, the build up the pine tar definitely tells you. And I wouldn't ask him. You know, make sure you don't ask him. Like, is that the only bat you used all year?
Oh.
Because that thing's going to get snapped the next at bat for sure. But I don't know. For me, you know, it was probably a couple weeks or something like that. It wasn't too crazy. I stood on top of the plate, so I got wore out inside quite a bit, and you know, tried to bloop those ones over the infielders' heads when I was breaking my bats. But you know, guys like that are special that hold on to the same bat for an extended period of time.
You know, it also is amazing to me, and I think fans don't know this, is you can grab a new stack of bats. You know, you get like a dozen or so at a time in the major leagues, and you guys will grab one and go, no, it's off. And then literally go weigh it, and it is off by not like a full ounce, but it's off by like a third of an ounce. And you're like, yep, this one is either too light or too heavy, yet it's almost specific to what you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You get the box a dozen, you get the box of 12 bats, and you kind of go through them that first day. It's almost like Christmas, and you're waiting to find the 4 or 5 bats that just fit perfectly or feel perfect, and the grains are right and everything's kind of lining up, and those go right into the gamer mix. And then, I'm sure Corey doesn't have to go into his very often, but some guys, they got to go back to those bats that they didn't like. And that's not a good feeling, but, you try to find the ones that fit right and the way right, and all the grains are lined up, and it's kind of a comical rotation of wood bats throughout the year. You're trying to always get that right wood in there, and like it matters, you know.
Man, awesome stuff as always. We appreciate your time very much, good sir, and can't wait to talk with you again.
Yeah, appreciate it for having me.